Over to you, Ajahn.
Yes, this is Majjhima Nikaya 19. The Buddha talked about two kinds of thoughts because this morning we will talk about how, the thinking mind, when you keep thinking about it, how sometimes it's more stressful than you think about it, especially there is something that is unwholesome, the thoughts that, that always lead to unwholesome thoughts is always lead to unwholesome negative emotion, those negative emotion. That's why the Buddha said now here they mention about two kinds of thoughts. There is a wholesome thoughts and unwholesome thoughts. Normally, wholesome thoughts will always lead you to positive emotion. If you think of something renunciations, you think of something happy, and that leads you that. That's why the Buddhas mentioned that, that if you're doing something good, it's good that you have to repeatedly, you keep doing it, and that you make it a very strong inclination. It becomes like naturally, like if you train yourself, because mind is a conditioned thing. We condition ourselves because sometimes people are very negative. I find someone so negative until even something positive also become negative. I remember this person, and the other person come and tell me, I don't know why she's angry with me, because to me it's a compliment. I praise her. I say, wow, sometimes you do have positive, sometimes you do have good ideas though. She wasn't happy. Then you know what she said? Because she said, I only sometimes have good idea. I mean, no one always have good idea, isn't it? But for the person who said it, is for her it's compliment. She's praising her that, wow, you do have good ideas, but she wasn't happy because only sometimes only. So then only this time I have good idea. The rest of the time my idea is wasn't good. You know how sometimes when you're negative, you always, even positive also become negative, and because when you train your mind because mind is a conditioned thing and become like a default setting. And then if you make it very strong inclination, your reaction is so fast. You react towards the things before you can think. I have someone said to me that she said, she had very strong, like for her, like she always want to help this, help that person, but sometimes without thinking that whether without thinking about her own limitation, how much she can do. She always everything, I want to help, but then after that she find that she can't do it. And then because she said her mouth is quicker than her mind, very quickly said, yes, I do it, but later she can't. Then she said she have to tell people, please, excuse me if I said yes, later I said no, please forgive me. Because it's a habit, because the habit is so strong. And sometimes when we have this very strong inclination, we have this strong habitual pattern, sometimes we don't even know that we're doing it. There's a problem sometimes, we sometimes subconsciously doing it without knowing. That's why it's important that we develop a mindfulness and then strengthen our mindfulness, and we become more aware. Sometimes we don't aware. Like the Buddha said, we fully aware our mental state, we're fully aware, being able to see, what we are doing, why we are doing it, how we do it. Most of the time people half sleep, isn't it? They just do whatever. They just follow the old habit. Sometimes without knowing that some certain habits that cause them so much suffering, then very easy that one of the things that is easy for people to do is to blame others for their own suffering. It's not my fault, someone caused me suffering. But they can't see that sometimes we ourselves contribute towards that, that we keep reinforcing that tendency become very strong. So the Buddha said if you have very strong tendency, your inclination towards, positive, always you find something good in yourself. Sometimes it's good that you train yourself that way, you that always find something good, always look that is always the best in others. It's no harm. That's why I find that it's very useful. Even sometimes like people being very rude and nasty to me. So I still think something positive. I was thinking, at least this person is honest to the extent. At least I get what I see, rather than this person step my back and then in front of you very sweet, very kind, But then the moment I think of that, I feel much better. Actually, even someone is being rude to you, nasty to you, you still can see something good in that person. You think that, at least the person being themselves, being honest, not pretentious, not pretend to be nice, but actually they're not. And then at least I see, at least this person still, there is something good in that person. Actually, you feel much better. I know sometimes when I was a lay person, I know sometimes my families, sometimes they think that, that I was stupid. Like they think that, you see, why are people take advantage of you? And then you still like, allow people take advantage of you. Then you know what I answer? I said, at least, people can take advantage of me. At least I'm still useful to the extent. Imagine people don't even take advantage of you. You're really useless, I said. Sometimes this is how you look at things, isn't it? Isn't it? But if you look at things in a negative way, that actually this is how you because sometimes when you are very negative, it drains lots of mental energy. They said people ask me why you have so much energy. I said, yeah, because it's just naturally I don't, because even when I was very young, I think maybe must from my previous life, I always, even when I was very young, I was thinking, why, why I want to focus on things that make me unhappy? Why don't I focus on things that make me happy? So then naturally, things that make me unhappy, I don't focus. Like the Buddha said, that is a unwise attention. If you pay attention to those things that is negative, it's unwise. Because you know that you pay attention to that, it leads you to your mind, it leads you to the negative, very negative. They said, the Buddha said that, all that we are, we think what we are, all that we are arises with thoughts. As if thoughts, we create our own world. And this is how, when we develop certain, strong inclination. So, or if you are someone fault finding, you only see fault. You can't see, because even the person have many other good qualities you can't see. You only can pick that. No one is perfect, isn't it? Of course, we have a shortcoming. That's why I used to tell the nuns. I said, you're living in a community. Of course, your fellow monastics have shortcoming. No one perfect, and then we ourselves have shortcoming. But if you keep focusing on someone's shortcoming, I think you hardly can find anyone good in the world. No one is good, isn't it? Because you focus on, then who is the one who suffer? I say it's always, learn, always forgive, always, the kindness and compassion towards others, That's why it's important, not even in monastic life, in lay life, because to be able to live harmoniously, especially if you can't, some people can't even have harmony in their own family. So then you want to come and discuss Dhamma with non-self, deep Dhamma. The basic one also you can't do. You can't even have kindness, compassion towards your family, your loved one, and you're unable to live harmoniously with your own, your family, your own family members. Then you want to discuss deep Dhamma, non-self. Can't even do the basic, because you be able to see non-self, your mind have to be really peaceful and calm, be able to see that. You can't even do the basic, and then you think of, like one of the saying, you don't even know how to walk, you want to learn how to run, And that's why I find that this thought is also appropriate, with after this morning Dhamma talk. And so I just read out the suttas. This is when the Buddhas talk about when he wasn't enlightened before his enlightenment. That's why before his enlightenment, so he still have these unwholesome thoughts, That's why you see, even Buddhas before he enlightened, he also got enlightened thoughts, That's why sometimes we tend to judge ourselves. We think that we are bad, we shouldn't have that. I remember when I was giving a Dhamma talk at Tathaaloka, and then there's a, Q&A, But this person didn't want to ask in front of everybody. Then after that, everybody left. She come to me. She said, recently I have so much jealousy, very strong. But for her, she think that she's bad. Like, you shouldn't have jealousy. You're jealous, that means you are bad, you're no good. So then I told her, it's okay. I said, because you're just being human. So if you have jealousy, you just acknowledge that. Just to be honest, honest about how you feel. Because sometimes people tend to push it away, pretend that otherwise, or I'm not, this is how, sometimes we judge ourselves much more than anyone else. We judge ourselves that is, then we ended up beating ourselves up, So I said, it's okay. So this accepting who we are is also being kind to ourselves. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay that you have jealousy. So I said, the more you try to push it away, thinking that I shouldn't have this, actually you increase your jealousy. You have even more. It sounds very simple. I said the practice is very simple. All you need to do, just to know and just to let it be, it will stop by itself. But of course, anything that, if we don't feel comfortable or we don't like, we all have the tendency to push it away. So whenever we try to push it away or run away or try to avoid, and actually you reinforce it, you make it even counterproductive, you make it worse. So actually to be able to accept who we are is also difficult. That's why the Buddha said, we to overcome ourselves much difficult than anything else, to overcome ourselves, to be able to accept who we are. So to be able to accept who we are and where we at is also have kindness towards oneself. The Buddha said, you search over the entire world, the one who really deserves your love, your kindness, is not other people, it's ourselves. No one else, we deserve that. But lots of people tend, not to love themselves, They said loving kindness, practice loving kindness is always include ourselves. They said that we don't encourage people, we don't sacrifice for others, and then we don't expect others to sacrifice for ourselves. So it's always have kindness towards ourselves and towards others. It's important. We ourselves have to be included. We don't exclude ourselves. So they said accepting oneself is okay. I love, even though yes, I still have defilements, I still have very strong jealousy, but I still love myself as I am. As who I am. It's okay to be yourself. But because of our sense of self, our conceit, who we think we are, so we tend to identify ourselves who we are. I remember, when I was still a lay person, and then I started to practice. Then I always think that I'm so kind, I'm so helpful, and sometimes I remember, with the Buddhist society, I always, encourage people, you get attend talk, or sometimes I find that too hard sell. Sometimes people run away from me. People see me, they're scared, because I come from the place I think that I find something good, I just want to share with you. But sometimes you can't overdo enough. Overdo counterproductive. This again. And they think that I try to convert them. Actually, I didn't come from that place. But then a bit too hard sell, Then I was thinking, I'm a very kind person. Then when I started to practice, like as you develop a bit of clarity, you'll be able to see. I see myself that actually sometimes that, I noticed that one of the things that I'd be able to forgive others easily, but I find that difficult to forgive myself for making stupid. Then I think, you really stupid. Why you make this? You make this? You shouldn't make this mistake. Actually, I realize it's come from my sense of self. The conceit. The Buddha said there's 3 conceit. I'm better. I'm as good. I'm hopeless. That's why some people have low self-esteem. It's also big ego. So I come from that place. I identify myself. Then after that, I can really see that. I realize that actually the reason why I can forgive others is also come from my big ego, because my big ego is that people are not as smart as I as me. So it's okay that make me sick because you're stupid that make me sick. It's okay. So I can forgive you. That's the concept. I can forgive you. That I really can see that. But then also I have to be really honest to face myself, to admit that this is my big ego. Because sometimes you have to really, that's why the Buddha talk about these spiritual qualities. One of the spiritual qualities, truthfulness. We've been truthful about that. We recognize and accept that that is where it's coming from. And also I can see also that one of the reason that I find it very difficult to say no when people ask for help. Then I stress myself out because my plate full and everything also. Yeah, I do. Then after that you find yourself too much. Too overwhelming, and then I have to tell myself, no, I have to say, I have to. If people ask me for any favor, I have to say no. I keep telling myself say no. That each time I really at the beginning I really struggle when people ask for help. Actually, deep down I want to say no, but eventually I said yes. I said yes. Take me a while. Then I remember when I moved the first step. Then I be able to develop the courage. And then I noticed that the reason why I don't have the courage to say no is because also come from my sense of self. You want to be liked. You think that if you said no, people say that then because I identify myself as good, as helpful, as kind. So if I'm not helpful, if I don't say yes to everybody, I'm not pleasing them, then people don't like me anymore. That I'm no longer kind person. It do not fit into my expectation like who I am. This is how we identify as who I am. There's sometimes it causes us a lot of suffering because it comes from the sense of self, Then I be able to see that, I realize it, Then I be able to really, have enough courage. Then I said no. Then it's just amazing. When I moved the first step, when I able to say no, from that day onwards, I can say no very easily. But actually, you really have to move the step, the first step. After you move that, you find it easier because sometimes we also have to look after ourselves, Sometimes we also kindness and compassion. Also, like the Buddha said, also have to have wisdom. So know our limitation. Know how much we can do, what we can do, what we can't do. Sometimes if we don't know our limitation, sometimes it's not really being kind. It's also not being helpful at all, And sometimes I rather that, then when I learn to say no, I still tell people, even though I said no, but you still ask me, maybe at times I can do it, But then people really trust me that, oh, don't worry. If I ask her to do, when she commit that she says she's doing it, I don't have to worry. She will definitely doing it. People have that trust in me. That's why sometimes it's being honest about how you feel, rather than we pretend that it's not there. Like sometimes we the one who we are very deceiving. We deceive ourselves much more than anyone else. That's why when the Buddha talk about truthfulness, it's not only lying to others, but not lying to ourselves. It's okay. So it's okay that how we feel, to accept who we are, to be honest about that, So, but then actually that is quite difficult because the sense of self getting in the way. Then we find it very, I struggle. I couldn't accept that when I see that, actually, even I think that I'm helpful, I'm kind, but I still come from that intention that still have the intention you want to be like, It's still not really pure, like really come from that pure kindness, But it's okay. You're still doing something good, even come from not that wholesome. It's fine. Rather than you hitting someone or doing something harmful, isn't it? Or saying something harmful, isn't it? But still, actually, we have to start at where we at. We have to start somewhere, isn't it? We are not there, it's fine. And then this is slowly, you develop we develop our mind, It's a gradual training. We train our mind, that And then also, I find it's really interesting that when you're able to see yourself, there's sometimes like people come to me and they say, oh, when they start to practice, oh, I still have this defilement, oh, I still have anger. I said, what do you expect, Of course you do have defilements, of course you still have anger. I said, if you have no anger, you're already anagami or fully enlightened, So, I said, so this is how, because we have all this our idea of who we are, we identify who we are. They cause ourselves so much suffering, and then sometimes we beat ourselves up unnecessarily. It's okay. We love ourselves as we are. We're okay. We just acknowledge that, we accept that, and then it will subside. And eventually, and it's also really amazing that when you start to develop more clarity, you'll be able to see all your underlying tendency that causes you suffering. And I find that it's fine. To me, like, whenever, even you see your defilements, you really keep, encourage yourself, pat yourself, well done. Good job. Because to be able to see your own defilements, you need to have enough clarity. You need to have wisdom. That means if you be able to see your own defilements, that means you have enough wisdom, enough clarity to see your own defilements. Like the Buddha said, a fool know that he's a fool. He's still wise to the extent. So I always remind myself, I always encourage myself, at least I'm still wise. Even though I know that I'm stupid, I know that I do silly things, but I'm still wise. At least I'm aware of that. At least I'm not being denied. He said the fool think that he's wise. Indeed a fool. There's sometimes that you rather than you know that you don't know, isn't it? People completely don't know, don't see themselves. And then they still think that they're good. And then that is, like the Buddha said, is indeed a fool. So at least sometimes it's good. When you practice, you start to see sometimes how silly your mind, how all these stupid thoughts comes out. You say, I'm still wise to the extent. Sometimes we need some encouragement, isn't it? We need that. We have to have the incentive, Then if we feel good, then we feel that at least I'm at least I have progress. At least I be able to see myself. That's why I always encourage you. I say it's okay. I say sadhu, sadhu. At least you know that you're angry rather than you angry. Also you don't know. I remember there was that when someone test this person, he said he going away, so that he said so. After a few years, he live in solitude and seclusion. He said, I no more, I don't have anger anymore. It comes out. Then the master keep asking him, are you sure that of course I know. Through my practice, I know that I have no anger anymore. Are you sure that I keep asking until I know that I have no anger through my practice? I have no anger. And then you see, even then he didn't even know that he's angry. When he's very angry, he still think that he's not angry. That's even worse, isn't it? You don't even see yourself. That's why sometimes I encourage you, it's okay, that you love yourself as you are. It's fine. That's why I really don't mind people making mistakes. Sometimes you just acknowledge that, oh, sorry, I made that mistake. That's it. Done. Finish, But sometimes you meet someone very defensive. Oh, you can't talk to people like that because they will go on and on. They have always have something to say. Because they want to win, That's why I remember when I was young, I used to be very argumentative. Then my mother used to say to me, you will never get any prize and award by winning an argument. She said to me, that's why sometimes you waste energy, because the person not open, and the person have very, very fixed views. They lock into the views. They can't see. That's why normally sometimes I just keep quiet and just allow the person be, because it's just wasting my time, wasting my energy, to talk to someone. That's why the Buddhists, that's why there's the Buddhists in the Anguttara Nikaya that talk about the 8 types of horses that are big. The Buddha said, be someone easy to speak to, And people point out your mistake. Oh, thank you for telling me. And then these 8 horses that people have, oh, you also have the defilements. You also do that. why you tell me that I shouldn't do it, And then the eight types, I remember there's 8 types, that kind of attitude, and people cannot be told, and then you will not have improvement, because you rather open. Oh, thank you for telling me, that actually you learn more when you open, and that's why it's important, to develop. And this also require you have a very positive mind state, and also you don't judge yourself. You also being kind to yourself. If you're being kind to yourself, you open to any, especially is some constructive criticism. Yes, maybe sometimes you don't feel good, but you think about, okay, maybe I couldn't see myself, maybe the other person see myself. So maybe it's true what you said, or might be not true, but you just, at least we leave it open. So this is the suttas, okay. Thus have I heard, on one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jagda's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the bhikkhus thus: "Bhikkhus, Venerable Sir," they replied, the Blessed One said this: "Bhikkhus, before my enlightenment, while I was still only an unenlightened bodhisattva, it occurred to me, suppose that I divide my thoughts into 2 classes. Then I set on one side thoughts of sensual desires, thoughts of ill will, thoughts of cruelty, and I set on the other side thoughts of renunciations, thoughts of non-ill will, thoughts of non-cruelty. So as I abide thus, diligent, ardent, resolute, a thought of sensual desire arose in me. I understood that thus, this thought of sensual desire has arisen in me. This led me to own affliction, to others' affliction, and to the affliction of both. It obstructs my wisdom, causes difficulties, and leads away from Nibbana. When I consider this leads to my own affliction, and it subsides in me. When I consider this leads to others' affliction, it subsides in me. When I consider this leads to affliction to both, it subsides in me. When I consider this obstructs wisdom, causes difficulties, leads away from Nibbana, it subsides in me. Whenever a thought of sensual desire arose in me, I abandon it, I remove it, and did away with it. So that when we are mindful enough, we be able to catch that. But sometimes if you are not mindful, we follow along, isn't it? With that, the sensual desire come up, we follow along. But that's why sometimes you require, mindfulness, because if you are not mindful enough, you will very easily get this, especially if you have very strong inclination, very easily you get dragged in. That's why when you have your mindfulness strong enough, you'll be able to say, oh, this is, if I follow this is going to lead me to suffering, not only harming ourselves, harming others and others, So that's it. From here you can see that if you be able to see that, it will subside, Sometimes sometimes when your mindfulness is strong enough, sometimes even the thinking, the moment the thinking comes out, your mindfulness is very strong. It's like a very sharp knife. You can stop very quickly. But sometimes it's not strong enough, and it's just a knife that is blunt, You cut it and still a bit tangling, Then somehow your mind still go in a little bit. Even though you're aware of that, but somehow you can't resist. You still go, you still tag along, But then eventually I have to come back, That means your mindfulness is not as sharp. And sometimes even though you're aware of that, when your mindfulness is weak, you still get sucked in. And your mind go on and on and on, it go with all the, the thinking itself, like the Buddha said, the thoughts, when the thoughts arises, it manifests into speech. Like first inner chapter, isn't it? We think about it and then we're talking to ourselves, Then we manifest into, we're talking to others, our speech. And then we manifest into our action, the Buddha said. And then if you repeat doing the same thing again and again, it becomes a habit. And then your habit is hardened into a character, a personality. that is quite difficult. That's why we say old habit die hard. So that's why it's so important that we have enough mindfulness to be able to catch ourselves. We know that this is something unwholesome. So that's why this is unwholesome thoughts, So that's why the Buddha said, if you be able to catch it, you see, actually it subsides. Of course, if your mindfulness is strong enough, and this is the way to easy to remove. But if your mindfulness is not strong enough, somehow you still get dragged in. So he continued, as I abide thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, thoughts of ill will arose in me, thoughts of cruelty arose in me. I understood that these thoughts of cruelty has arisen in me. This leads me to my own afflictions and the other afflictions, and the affliction of both is obstructs wisdoms, causes difficulties, and leads away from Nibbana. When I consider thus subside in me, whenever thoughts of cruelty arose in me, abandon it, remove it, and did away. So whatever unwholesome thoughts this is something, it's just repeat again, like the sensual desires, the cruelties, thinking of harming someone, and then that's like on this is the sixth one. The Buddha said, I think this is the right one. Yeah. Because whatever a bhikkhu frequently thinks and pointers upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. If you keep thinking of that, it becomes your mind inclined towards that. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of sensual desires, he has abandoned the thoughts of renunciation. He wants one more, rather than thinking of letting go, letting of renunciations, and then to cultivate the mind of, then it will the thoughts of renunciation to cultivate the thoughts of sensual desires. And then his mind inclines the thoughts of sensual desires. So if he frequently thinks and ponders thoughts of sensual desires, if he frequently thinks and pointed upon thoughts of ill will, upon thoughts of cruelty, this is how, if you always think about that, ponder about that, and then we develop that very strong inclination. That's what the Buddha said, that. Then he was abandoned the thoughts of non-cruelty. So if you always think about cruelty, then you abandon the thoughts. So you will not think of something that, I shouldn't have done that, this is unkind, or this is being cruel. Then, because you incline towards that, towards inclines to those unwholesome qualities of, then his mind inclines toward the thoughts of cruelty. Just as in the last month of raining season in the autumn, when the crops thicken, a cowherd would guard his cows by constantly tapping and poking them on one side, and that with a stick to check and curb them. Why is that? Because he see that he could be a flock in prison, fine, or blame if he's let them stray into the crops. So too, I saw the unwholesome state. When we see that he's seeing the danger, then he have to keep, the cows away from the danger. That's why sometimes we have to see the danger. Sometimes we don't see the danger. That's why we incline towards that. That's why it's important we see the danger. So I saw in unwholesome state danger, degradations and defilements, and in wholesome state. And in wholesome states, the blessing of renunciation, the aspect of cleansing. Then only you'll be able to see the wholesome state and the blessing of renunciations and the aspect of cleansing. As I abide thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, thoughts of renunciations arose in me. I understood thus that this thought of renunciation has arisen in me, and this does not lead to my own affliction or to others' affliction or to the afflictions of both. Its wisdom does not cause difficulties and lead to Nibbana. If I think and ponder upon the thoughts of even for a night, even for a day, even for a night and a day, I see nothing to fear from it. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. And when the body is tired, the mind becomes strained. And when the mind is strained, it is far from concentrated concentration. So I steady my mind internally, quiet it, brought it to singleness, and concentrated it. Why is it? So that my mind should not be strained. Sometimes also, even though something positive, you're thinking too hard. It's also a problem. I remember someone come to me. This person had said, I did Ajahn Brahm retreat. And then Ajahn Brahm said, relax to the max. So she's someone that very tight. So she tried very hard to relax. Very hard. The harder she tried, the worse. Fuming her body because she tried to relax. You don't try to relax. Then I told her, then I think it's better off you go to the spa, you relax more. People work hard, this one relax hard, They try, actually you try too hard, even something that, even the thinking, even though it's something positive, you keep thinking also the mind is tired, isn't it? Like overthinking, like also overdo, like the Buddha said, like always middle way, sometimes we overdo, keep thinking about it. But then actually the wholesome thoughts actually give us the support, give us the joy. Then through the joy and happiness, then we go internally, so we devote our mind, quiet down our mind, because with the joy, and then we focus, on, you just sit down and just relax and just be with, you can go internally, and then you can just, actually, that's why it's important when you have the wholesome state of mind, actually it support your meditation. But you not just keep thinking, but you don't, it's that you go internally, you meditate, the Buddha said, then because you were tired day and night, you keep thinking of doing good things, then also tired, isn't it? Then there's sometimes nowadays people overthinking, like thinking too much. That also cause that, that's why it's tired, because it's drain your mental energy. The thinking itself, even those wholesome thoughts that leads you to happiness. That's why sometimes it's important. You when you have this joy, you deal with the joy and just aware with that how you feel, and then you bring this internally, and then you focus. On you can start with body contemplation. Then after that, go to your breath, and then this is how you quiet down your mind. Not go on and on and on, keep thinking about it. As I abide thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thoughts of non-ill will arose in me, a thoughts of non-cruelty arose in me. I understood thus. The thoughts of non-cruelty has arisen in me. It does not lead to my own affliction, to others' affliction, or to the afflictions of both. It aids wisdoms, does not cause difficulties, and leads to nibbana. If I think and ponder upon these thoughts even for a night, even a day, even for nights and day, I see nothing to fear from it, but with excessive thinking. You see, they say it's excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. And when the body is tired, the mind becomes strained. And then when the mind is strained, it is far from concentrated, because you cannot focus, because it drains lots of mental energy, you cannot focus. So I steadied my mind internally, brought it to singleness, concentrated it, and what is that? So my mind should not be strained. So, and then just now it's a cruelty, and then it's now again come to this 11, the lines 11, because whatever a bhikkhu frequently thinks and pointed upon, and that will become the inclination of his mind. If he frequently thinks and pointed upon thoughts of renunciation, he has abandoned the thoughts of sensual desires to cultivate the thoughts of renunciation. So, and when his mind inclined towards the thoughts of renunciations, if he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of non-ill will, upon thoughts of non-cruelty, he has abandoned the thoughts of cruelty to cultivate the thoughts of non-cruelty. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of non-cruelty. Just as in the last month of the hot season, when all the crops have been brought inside the villages, the cowherd would guard his cows while staying in the root of a tree or out in the open, since he needs only to be mindful that cows are there. So too, there was need for me only to be mindful these states were there. So that's why whenever this state of mind is there, you be mindful of that. But sometimes we tend to think, oh, it's bad. And then we tend to push it away. We think that we're going to get rid of it. So when we try to push it away, actually, you counterproductive. Actually, you reinforce. Sometimes all you need to do, just guide. Okay. Just to know that it's there. Just to guard it, but don't have to, But sometimes we tend to push it away, and that's why he said to be mindful that state were there. So all we need to do is just to recognize and to acknowledge and to accept that, okay, this is my state of mind. But sometimes we tend to, that push it away and beat ourselves up. We're telling ourselves off that I shouldn't think like that, it's terrible, it's bad, then it's become counterproductive. Even though you're aware of that, but then become counterproductive because you beat yourself up. So tireless energy was aroused in me, and unremitting mindfulness was established because you stay still, you keep like a mindfulness is just like the gatekeeper. You stay, but you're fully aware, you're fully mindful what's happening, but you're not. Imagine if all the visitors come in and out, you say, oh, who is this one? Oh, is that person? Then your mind is of course, your mind will be tired, isn't it? Because your mind moving. As your mind moves, that drains your mental energy. But you stay. But you're fully aware. You're fully mindful of what's happening. You have all the details of individuals, each single visitors. Even you know how they look, how they dress. You have the full details of the person. But you're fully aware, but you don't follow. You don't. But very easily we tend to have that tendency, isn't it? So you just stay fully aware what's happening. That's right. Then you accumulate more energy because your mind becomes still because your awareness, your mindfulness is strong. So when your mindfulness is strong, then when you have a lot of energy, your mindfulness, actually the alertness, it's come from the energy, because we are not draining energy, but we accumulate energy and more energy. That's why the mind is bright, So aroused in me, unremitting mindfulness was established. My body was tranquil and untroubled. My mind's concentrated and unified. Because you stay, then your mindfulness is very strong. Then your mindfulness is strong, you'll be able to stay peace. Your mind is not moving. So the moment we have desires, the moment we move, then you're no longer present. So your mind is moved. So that's why, because of your mindfulness is strong, you stay, and then your body, if you have the tranquility of the body, and then you feel peaceful, your mind, you'll be able to focus, your mind becomes still. And then your mind becomes still and unified. So quiet, secluded from sensual pleasure. So you're already secluded from the sensual pleasure. Not thinking of desires, thinking of getting things, thinking of desires, all the sensual pleasures, that you are secluded from all those unwholesome states. Because the sensual pleasure is always lead to unwholesome states. So when you secluded, from wholesome desires, the wholesome states, then you enter a point, abide in the first jhana. So this is when he said about this sensual pleasure secluded from unwholesome state, actually is always referred to the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances, because when our mind crowded, with the 5 hindrances, we are unable to see things as they truly are. So that's why sometimes there's a 5 hindrances is absent, is there. The 5 hindrances is not there. You have clarity, because whenever the 5 hindrances is there, whatever we see, actually we are not seeing things as they truly are, because we're being hindered because of the 5 hindrances is there. So the first one is desires. Desires, essential desires, desires to be, desires to being, that is desires, and ill will. There is always this, that the first one is the last one to go, the desires, because we still, the sense of self being here, want to be, and then ill will is always come from that when we can't get what we want. It's also always come from, the desires when you're not getting what we want. We always have ill will. That's something that we don't like, that's always leads to ill will. And then there is a sloth and topper. Sloth and topper is sometimes also because of sometimes why people said that I'm so tired, because sometimes people mind they're very active, they're overthinking. That's why if you're overthinking also, you reinforce the underlying tendency to proliferate. Then you like to think about things, and the all fantasy, you like to fantasize, and then when you develop the habit, actually it drains your mental energy because you're overthinking. That's why that's why it's also partly because of the sloth and topper. It's also you have no energy. So that's sloth and topper. And then restless. Our mind very restless. We can't stay, we can't focus. Because also come from, you're not happy. Sometimes, not content. We always want something else, very restless we all, Then the last one is doubt, So we make sure I'm doing the right thing. Oh, am I, and then actually then you have doubt. Then you're not sure, isn't it? Then maybe one moment you think that, maybe now, maybe when halfway you practice practice anapanasati, okay, maybe I stop, maybe I should practice loving kindness. Then after loving kindness, maybe I should practice. You're not sure. There's sometimes people ask me, he said, can I do that if I'm sitting in a meditation, if I practice anapanasati, sometimes unwholesome thoughts come in, should I go and practice metta? I said, better don't. I said, you stick with where you just acknowledge that it's unwholesome thoughts, but you don't go and shift to metta, no. I said you can do metta like when you come out like separately, but not changing, I said it's okay. Actually, all you need to do is just like the Buddha said, you're just aware of that. It's just like he said the cow herd, he know that, keep them safe. So keep away from all the danger, know that it's safe. All you have to do, you need to be mindful of what is happening, But then that's why I said, no, you don't go. Now I go and practice metta. I said, no, don't have to change. You just stay. So all you need to do, just aware and not to follow that, the unwholesome thoughts. So then that's why it's going into like first jhana, and then up to second, third jhana, and then there is then after that, then he's after come out from jhanas, that is where you be able to contemplate, because normally you're in jhana state, you can't do the contemplation. It's only after jhana state. So your mind, because without the 5 hindrances, your mind is very clear. There is nothing to cloud your mind. You can see things, Then you be able to see non-self. Because as long as the 5 hindrances is there, you are unable to see. That's why there's what in one of the suttas, the Mahamalungya suttas, the Buddha's mentioned about. That's why people arguing about whether you need, or do you need or do not need jhanas for enlightenment? Because as long as a five hindrances is there, they're always undermined. You can't really see. You can't see non-self. You can't see that. And then because the Buddhists that talk, in these suttas, they talk about deliverance by mind and deliverance by wisdom. So people think that, by wisdom, okay, you have strong wisdom faculty, so I practice vipassana inside meditation, then I no need jhana. Actually, it's not. What it means in these suttas, it means both needs jhana. But some people, some people are fast learner, some people are slow learner. Like some people, you teach one time, they get it, isn't it, very fast. There's some people some people that only the first jhana they come out, they be able to contemplate and penetrate into the 3 characteristics, they can get enlightened because they have a strong, the Buddha said, they have a strong wisdom faculties. So it's just like, for example, it's not doesn't mean that if you enter jhana and then you can get enlightened. No guarantee, because you come out from jhanas, because sometimes very quickly your five hindrances are active again. When it's active again, that's why sometimes you have to that's why you have to be, you have to allow the five hindrances being suppressed for long enough, like go to sleep. Then you have the clarity. Then sometimes some people need longer time. Need longer time. They have to stay in that state longer time. When they come out, then the five hindrances they're not active so quickly. So you have longer time to be able to penetrate through. That's why some that need to that need to go up to 8 jhanas, after the fourth jhana, they go into the immaterial state. So they have to be, so that the five hindrances being suppressed long enough. So that, because sometimes if not long enough, sometimes they active again. So they said the five hindrances itself is the one who really stop the mind be able to see things, to be able to see non-self, That's why you have to be, That's why both they do need. But some people they need longer time. That's why the Buddhas, why sometimes the Buddha give teaching, and then people listen to the thoughts that they get enlightened. Because sometimes even those that they after come out from the meditations, after after jhanas, they come out, because they also, the five hindrances is still not there, because the five hindrances is still not active. And then they listen to the Buddha's teaching and then be able to penetrate through. That's why this is, it doesn't mean that you do not need it, because when the five hindrances is there, you're unable to see. Imagine you still have craving, you still have ill will, How come you see? You can't see, you can't see, That is really, it's that cloud your mind, you can't see that. So that's why this is then the Buddha talk about the birth, then someone's enlightened and then been arahant, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, and what to be done has been done, and there is no more coming to any state of being. That is nibbana, not coming back. I think sometimes I notice that many people think that nibbana is a place. They think, nibbana, go there, happy ever after. Nibbana is not a place. Sometimes it's very scary to people when nibbana. I remember there was a lady, she came to me. She has some experience, and then she experienced that sometimes she experienced the body disappearing. Then she said, I don't want to attend nibbana because I still want to have children. I don't want to attend nibbana. Then I told her, I said, definitely you will not attain nibbana since you still want to come back. She think that so easy, People think, I experienced jhana, then actually jhana is not attainment. It's just that you need to have that state of mind that your five hindrances being suppressed, temporarily. It's not that your five hindrances, your developments is completely uprooted. It's only temporarily you come out suppressed, but you need to have that clarity to be able to penetrate too. So they said people don't understand, and she was so scared. And then you know what happened? Then she said, and then she converted to Christian. And then she became a Christian for 3 years, and then she come back to become a Buddhist again. Because to people it's very scary, because you said nibbana, nothing, just the flame go away, see, not to come back. That's why sometimes people like to talk about, I want to attain nibbana. I said, really, you want to attain nibbana? Coming back, really scary. I don't know, people like to put there, I know people come to monastery, offer dana, and then they write it there, they're sharing merits with my loved one. Hope that that they attain the supreme bliss of nibbana. So people think that in nibbana they bliss out, actually it's not nothing. You're not coming back, no more. and I don't know, I think many people think that Nibbana is a place, And this was the third true knowledge attained by me in the last watch of the night. Ignorance banished, and true knowledge arose. Darkness was banished, and light arose, as happened in ones who abide diligent, ardent, and resolute. When the Buddhists talk about the three, it's always like those like psychic power. The Buddha do not consider that is not a super mundane. It's still mundane. It's only when you destroy the three taints, the taints of karma, asava, the taints of you decide that you, and then bhava asava, that is you still want to come back. And the ignorant, avijja asava. Only these three things is destroyed. That is really, this is the Buddha considered this is a really true knowledge. It's not that you can fly, you can go through wall, it's now also no need, isn't it? And lots of things very fast now. We don't have to be. Now it's so good, like for us now, our door automatic. We sit there, we take out our app, ding, the door closed. We don't even drive up there, close the door. That's why sometimes like for example, if you it's one of the practice at the fire kasina. So if you practice fire kasina, so you be able to just focus and you can lead fire. So why want to practice so hard to lead the fire? You got matches, isn't it? Just lead. That's it. Actually, it doesn't help you at all, isn't it? Then practice so hard, and actually the Buddha, he himself also hardly demonstrate that, that one do not lead you to freedom, from all suffering. You still suffer even you have all those psychic power, Now, so it's more difficult, isn't it? If you want to fly in the air, if you go through like now Iran and then you got bomb, So that's why sometimes but this is how sometimes I know some people like to they really worship, like people have psychic power. Even psychic power also, you still not enlightened yet. You just actually sometimes there can be the obstruction. Sometimes ego become big, and then that's why Devadatta. There's a downfall of Devadatta, because he think that I can have this supernatural power. Then he think that he's better than the Buddhas, and sometimes can boost up someone's ego, so ego become big. So. And then suppose, on the line 25, suppose because that in a wooded range there was a great low line much near which a large herd of deer lived. Then a man appeared desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage, and he closed up the safe, good path to be traveled joyfully, and he opened up the false path, and he put out a decoy and set up a dummy so that the large herd of deer might later come upon calamity and disaster and loss. But another man come desires good. That's like, if you come with the desires that is something you want to harm, you want to ruin someone, then it's just like, it's just like the man will close off the safe path, open the false path. So we went to the wrong path. If we come from that place, or that unwholesome desire, unwholesome state of mind, so we are following the wrong path, is just like. But then another man come desiring their good, welfare, protection, and he reopened the safe and good path that lead to the happiness. And he closed off the false path, and he removed the decoy and destroy, like the decoys is the lures, and destroy the dummy, so that the large herd of deer might later come to growth increase and fulfillment. Because I have given this similar in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning. Great, low, lying, much is a term of sensual desires. The sensual desires. The large herd of deer is the terms of beings. The beings have these sensual desires. And the man desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage is the term of Mara. So the Mara come and get that. Because when we have that, the Mara say, come, and that lures us. That for me, like when I'm on diet, I don't take sweet dessert. Then some nuns try to entice me. Oh, this is nice, this is. then I told that, you are Mara, I said. Try to entice me. Oh, this is dessert. Hey, this is dessert. It's good because I don't. She knows I don't take dessert now. I said you are Mara. Then I said like the Buddha said, Mara, I know you. I said, Mara, I know you. And then And then this is the when you have the desirings, the ruins and harming someone, that is a Mara, is the evil one. The fourth path is a term of the wrong eightfold path. So when you have the wrong views, wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong stillness. The decoy is a term of delight and lust. And the dummy is a term for ignorant because we've been ignorant, because we don't see things, So and then that's why we get lured by, the delights and lust, Come, it's very nice, it's joyful, it's delightful. So we will get dragged in, So if the man desires their good, welfare, protection is a term for the Buddha, Tathagata, accomplished and fully enlightened. A safe and good path to be traveled joyfully is a term for Noble Eightfold Path. That is a right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right stillness. So because the safe and good path to be traveled joyfully has been reopened by me, so this path has been reopened by me. That is the Noble Eightfold Path, he said. And then and the wrong path has been closed off. The decoy removed, the dummy destroyed, the ignorance destroyed. So what should be done for his disciple out of compassion by the teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them, that I have done for you? The Buddha said, I have done for you. Because these roots of trees, these empty hearts. Meditate, because do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. And this is what the Blessed One said. The bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One verse. Sadhu, sadhu. So the Buddha said, we are very lucky that we still have the Buddha's teaching, that the Eightfold Path, the true Dhamma is still there. They say sometimes like the Buddha said, when there's the no more true Dhamma, people will go into, rather than read the suttas, they will read all those poetry, poems, sound nice, sound good, and then they don't follow the path, and that is where, and then they start to ordain people, and then you can see all the monastic were all, that is a downfall of the Buddha Sasana. So we are still lucky that we still have the true Dhamma. So they teach all sorts of things. I remember there was a monk, and he came to Perth, and then he's in the Sri Lankan temple. So he teach you follow me, you follow my kind of meditation that is easier, he's better than the Buddha, The Buddha also says you have to practice yourself, you have to keep precept, you have to, you have to walk that path, you have the right livelihood and all this, you have to restrain. And they say, oh no, only you learn my meditation. So even you don't even have to keep the 5 precepts, but still people will listen, still follow. People think that, because easy, isn't it? I still can enjoy life, and I can get enlightened. So, but then people still believe that. You know, and that's why sometimes because of our ignorance, people think that that. But then I was surprised that they still have someone following him. That he got this. They said sometimes it's good that, like the Buddha said, that we have to really investigate. That's why we don't simply believe or simply not to believe, but we always have to use our own discretion. That's why you can see this path. The whole path is beginning is wisdom, and the end also is wisdom. So in other words, that's why the Buddha is mentioned in the Dhammapada. The Buddha said, no jhana without insight, no insight without jhana. So that's why you have to have small insight, you have to have a bit of wisdom, a bit of understanding, that right view, that because right view will lead to right intention, right motivation. That ultimately you need to have the big insight. That means when your mind is really without the five hindrances, then only you'll be able to penetrate through the three characteristics. You'll be able to see non-self, then only you'll be able to free yourself. And that's it's the Buddha said, you need to do it, so there is an empty heart. Okay, you practice, you that you have to do it, They said sometimes no one can do it for us, but the Buddha only can point out the path, but ultimately we have to do the job. No one can do it for us. That's one lay person went to the Buddha, asked the Buddha to protect him. The Buddha said, I can't protect you. You protect yourself. By your own precept, restraint. You keep your precept. You own your own, to protect yourself. Even the Buddha's, if Buddha is of kindness, if he could, he would, isn't it? But he can't. We have our own karma. He also can't save us. But he can point out how to practice, how to free, ourselves. But he can't really. But he can. If he could do that, he would, isn't it? Out of kindness, compassion. But he can't. In each one of us. That's why we are the owner of our own karma, age or karma. So ultimately, we have to bear the consequences of any action. That's why it's important that we develop our mindfulness. Then we are more aware of our state of mind, aware of those thoughts that is unwholesome, that lead us to suffering. And then this is where the restraint come in, the right effort come in the Noble Path, restraining our mind, restrain ourselves, and secluded ourselves from all those unwholesome qualities, unwholesome state of mind, restrain ourselves. That is the right effort that is come in. So any questions or comments? And yes. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Hi Ayya, I would like to ask, what's the meaning of renunciation? Is it to be a monk or nun?
Renunciation is something that you let go. Let go of not sometimes renounce that we be able to let go our the things that I want to keep. So I let it go. I give up. And of course it's also like if you want to become a monk, you give up lay life. You give up. That is, it's not that you renounce, you have to become a monk or nuns to renounce. You renounce things that you like to keep for yourself. Okay, I practice generosity. I give. Or first thing in the morning you get up, you think, what can I give? What can I be of service? And this is also a thing of renunciation, not thinking of harming someone, like thinking of what can I help? What can I be of service? What can I do, to help others? And this is also a thoughts of, kindness, not cruelty, not being cruel, and not harming someone. Yeah. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ajahn. Thank you for the teaching. The Sutta talks a lot about thoughts that have risen and what we do with it.
Yeah.
My interest is also about thoughts that seem to just arise.
Okay.
It's always described as it arose in me.
Yeah.
So the experience is we have no control over the thoughts that come in. Or is there anything we can do to do something about the kinds of thoughts that seem to arise?
Okay.
Thank you.
So actually, don't try to control. If you try to control not to allow the thoughts come, you'll get worse. Then that's what the Buddha said, that's what the Buddha's mentioned about the 3 levels of to restrain ourselves, like on the bodily, speech, and the mind level. That's why you have to develop when you're mindful enough. You have a mindfulness is strong, so you have to really be able to, the Buddha said you can only restrain by seeing it, by wisdom, again and again and again. So then this is how your mindfulness gets stronger, and then you'll be able to pick up very quickly. Sometimes even there's just little bit, you'll be able to catch it, and then it subsides very quickly. There's no that you don't try to stop it. You just have to, because sometimes it's just randomly will come up, and then you just, because your underlying tendency, when your underlying tendency is still there, it comes up. Sometimes you don't even know, sometimes how you've been triggered. Sometimes because sometimes some of these things are accumulation from many lifetimes. Like, for example, we have people always have these anxieties, panicking attack. And then this person said that actually, that never go through any trauma and come from a loving family. And this person said even when this person was, when he was young, he sometimes suddenly come up. Some of you depressed, sometimes anxiety come. He said, no, sometimes we think that, sometimes partly because of sometimes the conditioning, sometimes the upbringing that also contribute towards that. But sometimes also they come with the previous life, That's why sometimes all you need to do, when your mindfulness is strong, when you're aware, you easily pick it up. That's why we need to strengthen our mind. We need to develop our mind. We need to train our mind. So when we've been trained, then if we have strong mindfulness, we don't have to worry about whenever it comes out. Sometimes it won't come out for a long time, and then it comes out again. And sometimes also when your mind is ready to look at it, it also comes out. Sometimes the mind, sometimes the mind that you're not ready, you can't bear to look at things that you want to look at it. Actually, the mind have the kind of selective that, you decided to you decided to not to have the memory, and they get, you're missing that part of memory. But then until when you develop your mind, you have mindfulness, then actually you are ready to face it, look at it, sometimes it comes out. So not to be afraid of those comes out, because it's always good to deal with it, to look at it, rather than to, you cannot prevent, it will come. It will come anytime. Sometimes it's trigger, sometimes when you're in certain situation, because sometimes you don't know what you have done in your previous life. And sometimes in the certain similar situation, that's the trigger, it come up. Because we don't know, we have been living many lifetimes, so sometimes we don't know that we in the situation that actually we've been in that situation before, that trigger. And sometimes it's trigger, it's come out. So that's why don't try to stop that, but then just all you need to do, you're mindful enough, like the Buddha said, you're just mindful enough, you know that it's there. As long as you don't follow that thoughts, it will subside. The Buddha said you have to see that again and again and again. Eventually, it will completely remove. It will not go away immediately, because we don't know how long we have accumulated. Don't know how many lifetimes. Sometimes we expect that this lifetime, like the Buddha used to say, in no long time the bhikkhus become arahant. In no long time, also 50, 60 years, Sometimes say, some of the monks that become monks for many years only, they're enlightened. So of course, you compare to eon lifetimes, 50 years is no long time. No long time. Yeah. I hope that answers your questions. Makes sense to you? Okay.
Thank you, Ayya, for the teachings. Can I just ask, what is that sutta number or title about the jhana and suppressing the hindrances?
Oh, that the Mahamalumkya Suttas. Buddha talk about the deliverance by mind and deliverance by wisdom. But it's quite a long suttas. And that is the suttas. I think Ajahn Brahm really liked it because this is really said that, oh yes, definitely confirm that, that you need jhanas. That's why Ajahn Brahm liked these suttas. It's confirmed that you need jhana. Yeah.
Ajahn, can I check? There's a lot of things mentioned in the sutta about, in staying in solitude. But how do one stay in solitude when there's an underlying tendency to think? So I just want to understand how to do it, because also myself, as I experience, when I'm by myself, I think a lot. So when I go and socialize, then I don't have that thought. So how do then one, I won't call it suppress, but how do then one get into this thing about being in solitude?
That's why sometimes in solitude is important. Then because you don't know how much thinking you are, because you distract yourself, you don't know that you're thinking so much. Then when you're solitude, you know that, wow, my goodness, I think so much. Actually, it's always there. You're unable to see. When you're busy socializing, you can't see. That's why you need to, in solitude, to be able to see how much thinking, how busy your mind is. And then you come to understand that you have this underlying tendency, because we tend to get very easily, we get distracted without seeing ourselves. They says the solitude is important, that we be able to see ourselves much more. Doesn't mean that you're unable to see. When you distract yourself socializing, doesn't mean that because you're busy socializing, doesn't mean that you don't think too much, because but then when you're solitude, then this is where the solitude is important, that you can see you develop mindfulness, and then you develop stillness. Then your mind, you'll be able to see your mind, see yourself much more, to understand yourself much more. We think that we understand ourselves. I can tell you, the person that's much more difficult to understand is ourselves. It's because it's too close, we can't see. Like you try to put your hand like that, can you see? You put like that, you can see. Too close, we can't see ourselves. That's why we need to have that. It's just like when it's peaceful and calm. Like why people say, oh, I come to the monastery, defilements increase. It's not that you come to the monastery, defilements increase. Because when your mind is just all over the place, restless, and then, and then actually you can't see. You can't see all your defilements. You can't see doesn't mean that it's not there. But then when you become peaceful, you come to the monastery, you come to a place like solitude, quiet. It's just like in the pond, that when the water become clear, everything subside, then you see, wow, all the rubbish underneath, all the tires, all sorts of rubbish underneath. It's just like our mind. When you have the clarity, you see. Then we just, okay. And then, because then this is how that we need to have that in order to see ourselves. If not, we can't see. If you're constantly distracted, by the things outside, it get pulled in, we never see ourselves. Doesn't mean that you don't see it's not there. You will carry forward to next life. I hope that's answered your questions. Any more questions or comments? No more? Okay.
Yeah, hi Ajahn. So the sutta seems to be quite advanced meditation practice, because it's like what you say this morning, thoughts are more subtle than the body. So it seems to be like in order to be able to catch the thought, recognize it, and then know that it's ill will, sensual desire, it seems to be quite advanced meditation. Like for normal people, how do we get to that stage?
It's okay. We all have to start with where we at, you know. So you just follow, and then doing, keeping precepts, practice generosity, because you do need those wholesome qualities. Those qualities, like for example, in the West, people come to us like, oh, I'm not interested in Buddha's teaching. I'm not interested at that. I just want to learn how to meditate. It doesn't work. You have to have others' qualities. You have to have groundwork. That's why it's important how you live your life. Are you being kind? You being helpful person? That's help to support your meditation. That's that your attitude, your mentality. That's you bring with your same mentality towards your meditation. Actually, you have to take up the whole path. Like Buddha's always said, the Noble Four Path, you have to practice the whole path. So you just, be a good person, being a virtuous person, keeping precept, practice generosity, and then it will slowly you can see that, that's you. At least you can see that you make your life, you're more at ease, or more at peace. At least you make your life like happier. You're a happier person after you practice. You can see that. But then not too worry about whether you can get enlightened this life or not. So you just keep going. Because that's the problem. If you start thinking of that, and then you create another problem. That's why it's very important to develop one of the things that the Buddha said, like if someone always blaming others for their own suffering, always complaining all the time, and someone never not grateful at all. So that's why it's important to develop gratitude, always grateful. So that's help. Then when you're grateful, you help, then there's so much happiness, kindness, and then when you're happy, you have lots of energy, your mind is more alert, then it's easy to meditate. So as long as, just content, that's why it's important, to content, So if you're someone always very grateful, then very easily if you're someone not grateful, even you're in the best situation, you still think that is no good. So always think of the be like grateful, like you reflect on karma. So reflect on how blessed we are. You've been born in a country that some people can't earn enough to eat. Now you look at the Middle East, the war going, you see how poor thing all the kids, and then we don't have that problem, but we tend to take it for granted. So when we reflect on that, so the fact that you are here, you must have made lots of good karma in order to be here, in order to have the chance to listen to the Buddha's teaching. Some people being born in a place that never heard of even the Buddha, and then it's already it's so fortunate, that so blessed that you be able to hear the teaching, to be able to practice. They said develop more gratitude, always grateful. Then you be happy and contented, and it's easy to meditate, and then it's you make your life happier. So then because the Buddha said this is a gradual training. It takes time. But you can see that compare before you practice and after you practice, you know that it's helped you in your life. And then the practice also makes you a better person, a happier person. I hope that that answer your question. Okay. There's someone.
Thank you so much, Ajahn, for the talk. So I have questions on. So you were saying earlier that sometimes even when we are mindful of our thought, but then we can we sometimes can still kind of get carried away with that thought. For example, like all the bad habits, or sometimes some of the thoughts are unwholesome, but then it feels good to to just go away with that thought. I think that's also part of the reason why people kind of get carried away by the unwholesome thoughts.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there is any tips that we can like any practical way that we can do so that we don't get carried away with unwholesome thoughts. For example, there was one line in the sutta saying that when I think of unwholesome thought, I think that it's harmful for me and myself, for me and others as I exercise. But then I think a lot of time even that doesn't work. So I wonder if there is any practical tips.
Because
Thank
of
you very
the
much.
tendency is very strong. That's why sometimes unless mindfulness is because the Buddha's talk about that, because of he already a bodhisattva, and then actually his mindfulness is strong enough that it people to subside. But most people quite difficult. So that's why I always there's a skillful mean you can use, that whenever there's any unwholesome thoughts arises that moment, you can do the breathing exercise. So you just breathing in unwholesome thoughts, breathing out peace. So we don't try to fight, we don't try to push it away, we make peace with that it's okay. And this is also you embrace that, because we have the tendency to push it away. It's no good, bad. But then when you reject, when you push it away, it's ill will. You have ill will towards that. Then you reinforce the underlying tendency of ill will. So actually, acceptance itself is letting go. Make peace with it is letting go. It's okay. Because it's also come from a sense of self. How we identify ourselves is good or bad. How we tend to label and we tend to identify all the experiences that we go through. This is good, this is bad. I shouldn't be this, But it's very difficult for us to just stay okay. This is what's happening. Not to be part of it. Very easily we become part of it. Rather than we tend to take things personally. But rather than, okay, it's just there. That's why this is also one way to help you, to stop your mind from, because just to observe, because your mindfulness is not strong enough to just observe and not get sucked in. This is one of the skillful means you can use, you do that. And also it's helped you to give the psychological imprint in your mind that it's okay, that you embrace the unwholesome thoughts is there, it's fine. Then you make peace with it. So then you're breathing in unwholesome thoughts, breathing out peace. So then slowly you feel better. Then you're not being sucked in. Then after that, you can just sit there and just aware of your bodily feeling and sensation, how you feel towards that. Then it will subside by itself. Because sometimes, yes, that is it's to be able to watch your thoughts without getting drawn in. You need to have strong mindfulness. And then at the same time, it's good that in your daily life, try to put into practice, apply present moment awareness in your daily life. So whatever you do, try to bring your mind back to, for example, if you're doing dishes, you're fully here with doing dishes. And if your mind wander off, you just acknowledge that it's wander off, and then you bring your mind back. This is how you train your mind again and again. We have to recondition ourselves, almost like brainwash your mind. This is how you recondition. Then over a period of time, naturally, even though you wander off, you don't go too far. Your mind know how to come back. Maybe at the beginning, your mind traveled to Siberia without knowing how you get there, But now at least you know how to come, because you train your mind to come back. come back to present moment, come back to present moment, come back to present moment. Then over a period of time, your mind automatically come back. Even like, you have a dog, you train them, come back, the dog know how to come back. Almost like training your mind, like training a dog, okay? It has to come back. The mind will come back. You have to train your mind, But you cannot force, isn't it? Like you force your dog also, the dog don't like it, isn't it? That's why you don't force your mind. So is that answer your question? Does it make sense to you?
Thank you so much, Ajahn. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments?
Last chance.
Okay. No more questions? Last chance? Okay.
In managing the thoughts, the good and the bad thoughts, how do we bring the practice of 4 Brahma Vihara to like managing this thought, good or bad? Yes.
Because when actually this one, if you want to develop those qualities, is you can practice that separately. Like for example, metta. So for example, you know that you have very strong tendency, towards anger. You want to practice metta. So, but then the moment when when you're meditating, or these unwholesome thoughts come, and as I said, you don't. I shift to do this, but you can make it that your practice, or next time maybe I practice a metta. For example, when I changed my meditation, because when I first started to meditate, I meditate the Mahasi system, the rising falling. Then when I change the Anapanasati, it's very difficult for me. I always go back to the old habit. But then and then Pandit Sujajo suggested that you practice metta. So I start to practice metta. So I normally do metta walking meditation, an hour. Then I sit down. I don't go to the breath. I just do metta. Half an hour until that I got so much piti sukha, happy, that. Then only I go to the breath. And then very easy to watch the breath. Sometimes you don't, while you're doing, you don't, now I practice Brahma Vihara, I practice Karuna. No, you can make it like, you have certain tendency, okay, I practice this practice. Like you don't do it while, while you're going through, you think, I need, I'm not patient, I practice patience. I think I have a lot of ill will, I need to have more metta. So then you can, okay, maybe every day I make it a point that I practice metta. I practice, like compassion, and you can make it, it's not that you're not in the middle of it. I practice that, no, you don't do. Normally you have to make it, this is a practice, you practice a metta.
In daily life, we tend to interact with people that we don't like, or people who don't like us. So sometimes when I have conflict with certain people, okay, when I sit down and reflect back, I start to see the person's intention. So whenever the person pass by me, right, the first thing I will note on the person, and maybe it's out of my metta practice, so I will render metta to this person, that may this person be well and happy. Yes. Is it possible to do that? Because just now we learned that we just have to learn to accept our thoughts.
Okay. Because sometimes people think that, oh, I want to practice. Sometimes you don't have to force yourself. Like, for example, you find this person is very difficult. You can't forgive this person. You don't have to force yourself to forgive this person. Or you think that, oh, I have so much ill will to this person. I have to practice metta towards the person. Then you don't have to force yourself to have metta to that person. Sometimes can be counterproductive. So it's always you give metta to yourself. May I have metta towards that person. It's more doable, isn't it? Because I have someone being abused by the husband, and then she divorced it. She divorced her husband, and then she said, I don't want to carry that ill will towards him because I don't want to meet him again next time. So then she tried to practice metta. She found it very difficult because the moment she sit down and she tried to send loving kindness to the ex-husband, all the horrible thing he did, all come out. Very difficult. The more you force yourself, even worse. So then she told me, then I said, you don't force yourself. You just send loving kindness towards yourself. May I be able to forgive this person? May I have loving kindness towards this person? And then after that, she said, oh, actually it works. He said, easier, more doable. She said, it's more doable. And then she practiced some years. And after that, she said that last time she really had lots of ill will. Whenever the thoughts come out, already can't stand, But then after that, she really quite economous. Like she really don't have that reaction anymore. That's why, if we can't forgive someone, you don't have to force yourself to forgive, but you always send loving kindness towards yourself. May I be able to forgive this person, but we don't have to force ourselves. You're not there, you're not there. Sometimes we tend to force. I remember there was a case. This guy, he divorced his wife because the wife having an affair with another person. Then after some times, the wife also tried to make up again. Then the wife said, oh, you see, you are Buddhist, you practice loving kindness, so you should be able to forgive me, And then, of course, you can't, isn't it? I mean, in theory, we all understand, but can you do it? You may not be able to do it. Isn't it? In theory, we know that letting go is good, but we can't let go. So then we said that you just don't, for the sake of to show that I'm kind, I'm compassionate. I said you have to be truthful to yourself, to really truthful to yourself that he couldn't let that go, because each time when she see the ex-wife, think about her with the other guy. It's really difficult to come out with. But I said, you don't force yourself. I said, if you try to make up again, your relationship also won't last. Because you're not ready. You're not come to a place of really accepting, forgive. You cannot forgive. You cannot force yourself to forgive. I remember there was another lady. She said that she's going through separation because she has an affair with another guy. And then she said that, you know what's really bothered me? Because I don't think he loved me enough. If he loved me enough, he should be able to forgive me. Last time he did something wrong, I forgive him. Then I said to her, why don't you forgive him for not able to forgive you? Like sometimes very easy, we expect others, oh, you should be able to do that. I mean, everybody can say and done, isn't it? But doing it is not easy, isn't it? In theory, we all understand, isn't it? In theory. But can you do it? Knowing it, to understand it, theoretically, everybody understand in theory. But can you do it? Doing it is another thing. It's another story, They say sometimes it's always good. Like the Buddha said, we are very. It's because I find nowadays many people don't love themselves. It's always come back to ourselves. Sending loving kindness to yourself, being kind to yourself. When you're kind to yourself, when you have someone have lots of metta, you're naturally very open. You're naturally kind and you're naturally, not easy, you easily, you forgive others very easily. You will have lots of metta. So you develop more lots of metta within yourself. So even the person, how terrible the person is, it doesn't bother you as much. Because someone have a lot of metta, you have a big heart. You're not narrow-minded. If someone self-centered is very narrow-minded, because they focus on themselves. They said, like sometimes people, go on retreat. Coming on a retreat, my mind is so sensitive, and they become so vulnerable. This one negative. I cannot stand. That one negative. I cannot stand. Then after practicing, after meditating, you become more vulnerable. That's why I said there are two kinds of sensitivity. One kind of sensitivity is come from the sense of self. You keep thinking, this person had done this, that person had done that to me. I cannot stand. Because it come from the self and the sense of self. You've been self-centered. That's why you become so sensitive. People can't say anything about you, cannot criticize you. And then the other sensitivity, we talk about that kind of sensitivity, is not this kind of sensitivity. But people think that, because I practice, I'm very sensitive. We talk about this kind of sensitivity is not come from the sense of self. Your sensitivity is come from whatever I do, is that going to have impact on others? We're being considerate. It's going to cause harm to others. It's going to have cause any harm. This is not come from the sense of self, not thinking only yourself. And we are talking, when we're talking about sensitivity, we're talking about this kind of sensitivity. You're being sensitive. And this sensitivity is being someone considerate, someone being kind, not come from the sense of self. That the other sensitivity come on ego, big ego, as if you are the center of the universe. Everybody have to evolve around you. There's some people that, and this lady told me, then her friend told her, I think I don't want to meditate, because you meditate, you become like, as if that she's so pure, that people have defilements, negative. I said, if you are really pure, if your mind is very strong, and you're a very positive person, someone negative is not that easily influence you. Not easily. If you're being easily influenced by the pull in by the negative, that means you're not stable enough. That is, you're not that pure that you think that you're that pure. If you're really that pure, it's not so easy. Your mind is if someone very pure, if someone, if they have the purity of mind, naturally this person is very stable. And then the person is positive. You have lots of positive energy. When you have very strong positive energy, someone negative not easily influence you. Okay.
Ajahn, just now you say metta walking meditation. Did you say metta walking meditation? I never hear this before. Can you explain how it's done?
So metta meditation, you just stand, you close your eyes, you put your hand in front. Then after that, you just aware of your body. You just put your hand on your chest. You say, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. So whatever that clicks you, you recite 3 times. Then after that, you put your hand down, and then you focus on your foot. So metta, 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 metta. So you stop at the end. So you fully aware that you turn around, and again, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, may I be live in love and compassion, whatever that is really clicks. Then after that, you just 3 times, then you put it down. So metta, 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 and you stop there, and then you turn around, may I be well, may I be happy, and then metta, metta, metta.
That towards ourselves, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you don't have to move very quickly. Like for me, last time when I do the metta, I only do it to myself, and then very quickly I already have the kind of very peaceful, very happy, and then calm. Then that have the tranquility of the body. Then I straight away go to breath, and then since then I practice about 6 months to do metta in order I be able to do the breath meditation. I have to do metta before I can do breath. Then after that, I don't have to do metta. I can straight away sit and watch my breath. Because by changing, because a different kind of practice, you tend to go back to old habit. It's very strong. You keep going back, and then it's really irritate me. Oh, not coming back, and then you have the habit again. It's very difficult. Then I almost want to give up. Then Bhante suggested, don't give up, continue, and then and ask me to practice metta. Then I practice metta.
Ajahn, when you say breath meditation, do you actually have to feel the breath?
Actually, all you need to do, you're fully aware of your breath. Don't try to focus here. Because last time when I tried to do that, because I used to do that Mahasi system, and I used to do like contemplation, like observing the 4 elements. Then I very strongly, I know the air, when I'm breathing, I can feel the air, like the air element, then a lot of vibration. Then I start to focus here, then my nose here vibrate. Then I say, okay, don't focus here. Then I follow the breath, and then the vibration go in and out. It's very disturbing. Then that's why I find it very difficult. And actually, all you need to do is just know, like I talk about the mindfulness of breath. It's just like the gatekeeper. You knowing the breath. You know all the visitors in and out, isn't it? Do you need to follow them? You do not need to. But the gatekeeper stand there. You know each one of them in and out. You know who. You know the details of everybody. But you don't have to move. Don't have to. Just stay. Just relax, just stay.
So I cannot see the visitors.
Because your mindfulness is not strong enough. That's why sometimes you have to start with the causal object. Do walking meditation or do body contemplation until when your mind is peaceful enough. Then it's easy to watch your breath. And then you don't have to look for the breath. The breath come and look for you. The breath is always there. If you have no breath, you're already dead, It's always there. But because the breath is a more subtle, it's a subtle object. So when your mindfulness is not strong enough, that's why sometimes when your breath become very subtle, and some people can't feel the breath. That's why you have to go back to the causal object. Go back to body contemplation and come again. And you have to develop your mindfulness through a causal object. You can't force. You can't see. Because your mind is not refined enough to be able to observe. Because your mind have to refine enough to be able to watch a more refined object. For example, you have the under microscope, only some of the things only you can see, isn't it? With physical eyes, you can see. It's just like your mind is not the microscopic level. That's why you can't see. But you can't see doesn't mean that it's not there. It's always there. So that's why you have to establish your mindfulness so that it's strong enough to be able to see. Then you can do, actually you can do walking meditation, you can do metta, and you can do body contemplation until when your mind is peaceful and calm enough, actually it's very easy to watch. Like my breath is always there, very easy. It's always there. It's just like body contemplation, you just bring your awareness, just pay attention to your body. So you can do the scanning. You can scan from your head. So you feel your head. Is there any tightness? So you just relax your head, just aware. And then you feel your face. If there's any tightness, sometimes you can put a smile on your face, to loosen up. And then your neck, you just scan through and feel. If there's any tightness, you just relax. And then feel your body, how your body feel. Because bodily sensation, feeling and sensation is coarser compared to the breath. Breath is more subtle. So that's why you can't go with the subtle object. You have to go back to the coarser object. So feel your body posture, feel how you feel like. Then until you feel really peaceful and calm, then actually automatically you feel the breath very easily when you're peaceful and calm. But because most people try too hard, quickly force themselves to sit in, and then you don't force yourself to focus. If you force yourself to focus, it would even worse. You can't even feel the breath because you're forcing yourself to focus. Meditation is a natural process. Enlightenment also is a natural process. It's happened by itself when the causes and condition is there. That's why you have to put in the causes and condition. Because sometimes we want so much. I want to be peaceful. I want to meditate. I meditate so I become peaceful. So you can't make your mind peaceful. The mind will be peaceful when the condition is there. That's why sometimes you have to check what other thing that, like for example, someone asked the Kuba Ajahn, when it's Thailand. They said, oh, why? I find it very difficult to meditate. Then the Kuba Ajahn said, you do not enough of kindness. You have to do more, more kindness and more generosity, service. Because you can't even let go of the causal level, How come you let go? Like, for example, practice present moment awareness, aware of your bodily, aware of what you are doing. You can't even focus on this. You want to focus on breath. The breath is more subtle than your activities. That's why this is how the practice is not only sitting on the cushion, it's throughout. That's why people said they have no time to practice. No, you have time. Whatever you do, all the activities that that is your meditation object. If you are doing dishes is your object. If you are gardening, the gardening is your object. And that is all the opportunity you can develop mindfulness through that. Then this is how when you strengthen your mindfulness, you build up, then when you sit, it's easier to sit. Sometimes people won't say that you have to have the groundwork. You have to prepare your mind. But a lot of people tend to use willpower. Sit down, willpower, okay. Most people do that because this is how in the world, using willpower, and you can't because if we can use willpower to get enlightened, so the Buddha's teaching of cause and effect, that's no longer the truth. You have to put in the causes and condition. The causes and condition is there, things happen. So that's why you have to develop, like you practice present moment awareness throughout whatever you do. This helps you to develop mindfulness. Not to underestimate that, And then sometimes like keeping precept is also helps you to develop your mindfulness because you become more aware. More aware of our bodily action, more aware of our speech, that, this is something that I should restrain, this is something that is harmful. If I do this, that you become more aware. When you keep a precept, you recite that. Actually, it reminds you, and then you become more aware of our behavior, more aware of our bodily actions, our speech. That is help you to also, keeping precept also help you develop mindfulness.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay.
Can we say 3 sadhus? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Ajahn, for spending 3 solid days and coming to Singapore, having a hectic schedule. We hope Ajahn will have a good health and continue teaching us for a long time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And happy to be here, my pleasure.
Thank you, Ajahn. Okay, let's share merits and then ask for a short blessing.
Okay.
Okay, let us share.
Akasata ca bummata devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva ciram rakantu loka sasanam akasata ca bummatam devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva Cikram rakantu Dhamma desanam akasata ca bummata devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva ciram rakantu mam param etawata ca ammehi sampadam punya sampadam Sape dewa anumodantum Sapa sampatti siddhiyam Etawata cammehi Sampadam punya sampadam Sape buddha anumodantum Sapa sampatti siddhiyam Etawata cammehi Sampadam punya sampadam Sape satta anumodantum Sapa sampatti siddhya Idam me nyatina hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idam me nyatina hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idam me nyatina hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. So give you a blessing.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Sabba roga vinimotu, sabba santa bhavajito, sabba veramati kanto, niputo chatuvang bhava, sapitiyo vivajantu, sabba rogo vinasatu, mate bhavaj vantarayum, sukhiti kayuko bhava, abhivadana siri Sanicam uttapachayino chattaro dhammawatanti ayuwano sukhang palang.
Sadhu.